So, this is going to be a bit of a shorter video. It's one I've been meaning to make for a little while, but, life got in the way a little bit. But with the recent news about the Security Breach Ruin DLC coming out, I think now would be a good time to make this video, before we get even more information and it's no longer relevant. Five Nights' story as the years have gone on has always been complicated, to put it simply. Security Breaches was even more so. From the questions posed with that one ending that has both Vanny and Vanessa in it, to the return of Springtrap / Scraptrap / Burntrap. It was weird. Weird all over. The Petaplex looked like amazing fun though. From the announcement teaser of Ruin though, it does look like Security Breach is going to get a darker installment that's a bit more in line with the past FNAF entries, and I'm really all for that. But I'd like to talk about what I'd really love to see as far as a storyline in Ruin. Please keep in mind this is not me trying to guess what it'll be about. I have a really bad record with predicting FNAF storylines. This is just something I'd like to see based on that one teaser image we got, a little bit of my own wish fulfillment, and a little headcanon I personally have regarding Burntrap and why they were constructed in the first place. So, if you're ready to dive in, let's get started. First, let's establish what we know based on where Security Breach left off and through the Ruin image teaser, as well as what could potentially be revealed in that same image. For this, we're going to assume that the ending where Gregory fights Burntrap, the Afternoon Burntrap ending, is the true ending. Or that at the very least it happened. Burntrap is a key part of this little theoretical Ruin DLC in my head. Also, we're going to count Vanessa and Vanny as the same person, no matter what that one ending shows. So at the point of the Burntrap ending, we have a Petaplex with a Ruin Freddy Fazbear's underneath that contains a chamber with Burntrap inside, and a giant mass of wires and electronics wearing many battered masks known as the Blob residing near that. Gregory has to fend off the other three animatronics and roast Burntrap, all while Glamrock Freddy attempts to fight off being hacked by Burntrap. We see in the ending that the area is collapsing and on fire, and Burntrap gets abducted by the Blob, although we don't know what happens to them after that. We also see Glamrock Freddy and Gregory running from the area, but again we don't actually know what happens to them after that. We also see the other three Glamrocks in their shattered state during the boss battle, but never see them during the ending cutscene. So it's entirely possible that all of these people and robots remain trapped under the Petaplex by the conclusion of this ending. Or maybe some found their way out while others didn't. We also never know what happens to Vanny or Vanessa in this ending, as they don't really play a part in it. Now let's take a look at the announcement image. It shows a new child character stood in front of what seems to be that giant golden Glamrock Freddy statue in the front of the Petaplex, only it's fallen to pieces with the head lying by the shattered legs and the rest of the Petaplex we can see beyond the statue looking very much the worse for wear. We can also see a bunch of screens all depicting Gregory from the first game, one of which has him facing the screen with the text "Help me" written across the bottom. We can also see Glamrock Chica nearby, in much worse condition than she was in when we saw her getting crushed to become shattered Glamrock Chica in the first game. Most prominently, we can see that she seems to have lost half of one arm, even the endoskeleton part of it, and her head, which although cracked and missing the beak had kept most of its shape in shattered form, is now mostly missing, and the one side that remains appears to have even melted. The other interesting detail in this image is this. A pair of red dots near the top of the image. Because it is just that, a couple of red dots, it's hard to get exactly what this is with any certainty. So, based on all that, what do I think might happen next in Security Breach's free DLC? As we can see from the teaser, Ruin will be taking place in the Petaplex, but one that seems to have been abandoned for a while. Either that or something big enough happened to cause a lot of damage to it in a very short time. As I said earlier, I will be working under the theory that Ruin follows on from the Burntrap ending of Security Breach, and given that Glamrock Chica in the teaser image has damage that suggests her suit has melted, there's actually evidence to strongly suggest that this ending is indeed canonically the one that has led to Ruin, or that maybe another fire-related disaster is what has led to the Petaplex's current state. What I think might happen is that our new protagonist has come to the Petaplex for some as of a yet unknown reason, although my headcanon is that she's been dared to go in, and finds herself caught up in a situation. In this theoretical Ruin narrative of my mind, Gregory ended up trapped inside the Petaplex after the Burntrap ending. Our new protagonist comes across Glamrock Freddy, who is now a little bit damaged, although not as much as the other three Glamrocks will be at this point, who asks the protagonist's help in freeing Gregory, who we are told has been trapped in a place in the ruined Petaplex by a collapsing ceiling or something similar. Gregory himself can't communicate outside of the room, but Glamrock Freddy can still talk to him via the Fazwatch. We're told that there is a way to reach him, but it's only by accessing and disabling a number of security doors to find an unblocked and safe passage to Gregory. As we go around the Peterplex completing tasks, we are assaulted by the other 3 Glamrocks, none of whom are capable of clear speech at this point, and always seem to be trying to capture our new protagonist or stop her from accessing the security doors. We might also see the daycare attendant at some point, most likely in moon form given that from what we can see in the teaser by the use of the flashlight, it's safe to say that the lights are no longer on anymore. It is possible though that we come across him in sun form, sticking to a small patch of the building that still has lights, maybe powered by some of the generators we see during security breach. Maybe he even has a quest to help with the main goal of opening the doors if you scavenge fuel for the generators for him. I don't know if I see the staff bots playing much of a role here, as I don't know if many of them would have survived, but maybe we'll encounter a few in some areas. But what of Vanny/Vanessa, Burntrap and the Blob? I think we'll see them too. Vanny/Vanessa might be seen more in Ruin than she was in the actual security breach game. This still will have heard the fans who were super disappointed with her lack of appearance. In this theoretical ruin of mine, she will have control of the Pizzaplex's intercom and some of its systems, and seems to be using them and the other 3 Glamrocks to hunt down and try and stop our protagonist. I don't imagine in this narrative we'll see a lot of her in person, although maybe she'll be on the screens. At least not until the end, but we'll get to that in a moment. The Blob, I think, will become a much more active threat in this narrative of mine. Remember those 2 red dots in the Ruin teaser? People are guessing that they're the eyes of an animatronic, and I think with the Blob being the way he is, massive cables and such, it makes sense that those are his eyes. After all, he does lunge down from the ceiling to ensnare Burntrap in the Burntrap ending, so it's entirely possible. Here, the Blob will be a lurking presence in the Peterplex, hanging from the ceiling and threatening to drop down and attack, somewhat like Mangle does in FNAF 2. There could even be sequences where the player would need to get across a room, avoiding its searching tentacle-like limbs as they snake across the floor. But as you progress in the quest to open doors to find a pathway to Gregory, there will be little things that don't seem to add up if you think about it, little hints of something else going on beneath the surface. Nearer to the end of the game, I can see Vanessa actually appearing in person to confront our protagonist, catching her and trying to stop her from opening the doors by telling her something, before Glamrock Freddy comes in for a big damn heroes moment and saves the protagonist from her. But then once we get to opening that final door, a screen comes to life, and it's Gregory, who tells you not to open that final door and shows just why he is in that particular room. We see Burntrap limp and inactive, and we are told by Gregory that during their attempt to escape from the underground pizzeria, Glamrock Freddy was no longer able to hold off the hacking attempt. All this time, Glamrock Freddy has been controlled by Glitchtrap, who has moved on from Vanessa, and has been trying to use your protagonist to get to the Burntrap body that he had Vanny build for him all those years ago, the one he never got to take control of. That is why Vanessa is still in the Peterplex, to stop Glitchtrap for good, and this is what she had been trying to tell you in person earlier, and why she has been trying to stop you. All this time, you've been helping the villain of this piece. I can then see the final battle being a race to stop Glitchtrap in Glamrock Freddy's body from getting through that final door. Maybe with help from Vanessa, and with an extra complication of the Blob attempting to also get into the same room with Gregory and Burntrap in an attempt to reclaim the body too, and or get to Gregory. Possibly it could involve using the other 3 Glamrocks to do things to make it easier, although I could also see points earlier on in the game where you get the chance to shut them down for good before you learn the truth, so that could make this final battle harder if you chose to go with your understandable gut instinct to remove the threats hunting you. Success would see Glitchtrap finally exercised from Glamrock Freddy, who manages to share one last moment with Gregory as himself before he shuts down for good, as his AI has been irreparably damaged from being suppressed by Glitchtrap for this long. The game ends with Vanessa, Gregory and our new protagonist leaving the Peterplex, with Vanessa finally able to set to rest this part of her life, Gregory able to escape from the building now, and our new protagonist having completed a dare that became so much bigger. Now, do I really think any of this is going to happen? Maybe 1 or 2 small things, but I don't see this idea of mine being very accurate given how Five Nights games have gone in the past. I'm still likely going to watch people play it and enjoy parts of the experience as I always do. It's why I keep coming back after all. But hey, it's nice to think up some what ifs, isn't it? What would you personally love to see happen in the Ruin DLC? Leave me a comment below and let's see what you can come up with before it releases, and we can see if anyone guessed any part of it right.